What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and to another Overwatch League news video, and today we have two different things to cover. The big one is that the Paris Eternal and Neptuno have mutually parted ways, but along with that, the Guangzhou Charge have parted ways with their head coach Arachne, as well as assistant coach Damon. The falling outs after poor stages from bad teams have already begun. But with all memes aside, let's go over the Paris news first, because this is pretty big clearly, because now they are down a starting player. It all seems kind of strange to me because Neptuno seems like the type of guy that would want to stay and just stick things out, especially after last year where he kind of just lost his job due to visa issues and whatnot and Chara outplaying him down the stretch. But hey, sometimes things change. When this news first dropped a couple of hours ago, I was like, why on earth would Neptuno be leaving? Is he being toxic or something? Because he does kind of have a history. You know, his attitude has kind of left him with these rumors of him not being the greatest teammate to some people, being a little bit pushy, if you will. But those are all rumors. I don't know how true any of it is. But then he came out with an explanation, which I believe should clear this up. It's not necessarily the entire truth, but he kind of made a twit longer talking about why he left. To read a snippet of it, basically he is retiring as a player, it would seem. It seems that right now he's not really happy with the way he's playing. He wasn't satisfied with his performances the first 4 matches, and after talking to management, they both thought it would be for the best to move on from each other. But does this mean he's done with the Overwatch League for good? Not necessarily, at least pro Overwatch I should say, because he said that while being on the Paris Eternal, he found himself being interested in coaching, and he believes it would be a good transition for him, something that feels natural and enjoyable for him. So after taking some time off, he may be coming back to pro Overwatch, but just in a different role. Regardless of how much his play has declined over the years, I really do appreciate Neptuno a lot because he's been here since Season 1, since the very beginning, and there's a lot of good memories surrounding him for me, with all the Battle Mercy stuff and him being a crazy Lucio back in the day. He was always just a lot of fun to watch, and I'll definitely miss him in that matter because he did give us a lot of entertainment over the years. I'm very grateful for Neptuno, and whenever I think about him, it triggers a lot of feelings of nostalgia because of that Philly team back in the day. They were a ton of fun to watch, and he used to be like a top 5 main support in the league back in Season 1, believe it or not. But since then, as I've mentioned multiple times here on the channel, he just hasn't really gotten back to that level. His play has regressed significantly, and he hasn't really been able to keep up with the times, if you will. A lot of the other newer class main supports who have come into the league these last few years are just better than him, and he hasn't been able to adapt to their styles and the increased level of skill that this position now has. He's definitely onto something when he says in his little twit longer that he just isn't really satisfied with his play. I mean, just by watching him, yeah, it's not satisfactory at all, especially as Lucio. Remember in that Vancouver game on Control, I think it was on Oasis in the first round, when it took him like a whole round just to charge B and like he didn't even get it basically? Like, that was crazy, and it proves that, yeah, he's just not what he once was. Clearly, Neptuno has a sense of pride in how he can play, and if he's not satisfied with his performances, then how could you expect his teammates or coaches to? He's a good veteran presence to have on the team, but if he can't play well enough in-game as the only main support on the roster, yeah, it's probably in your best interest to just cut ties and move on and try your luck with somebody else. It's only speculation, but I really do wonder if there are any other reasons why this ended up happening. Again, maybe it could have to do with Neptuno and his personality, or maybe not. Maybe it simply is just a gameplay thing. I'm not an insider, so I have no idea. Just some simple speculation. But now, what are the Paris Eternal going to do? They need a main support player. They literally do not have any other supports on their roster. So who will they select to pair up next to Khan? From the Overwatch League level, I don't really think there's anybody they could trade with. I mean, maybe like Funny Astro, I guess, but I highly doubt it because 1, Philly love him, but 2, he would be expensive and Paris aren't exactly in a position to spend money. So in all likelihood, they probably just end up getting a EU Contenders player or some sort of free agent that didn't make OWL this year. My bet is on EU Contenders. There's a couple of different options out there, I'm assuming, but one that I tend to think of if they're not looking for like a rookie is maybe Cruz. I know recently there was like some Young and Beautiful drama with him and Boombox and Nico or whatever, but he kind of does fit the same description as Neptuno because he's a veteran of the game who's been doing this for a while. He has multiple years of Overwatch League experience under his belt. It would be a pretty decent match. Not to mention that he's not afraid to be loud and communicate and speak his mind about things. He's just a good overall leader. Is he the best possible fit for this roster? I have no idea. This is just a guess. It seems like it makes sense on paper, given all of the similarities to Neptuno and all, and maybe even just being a slightly better overall player, but I really don't know what Paris are thinking. Regardless of who they intend to pick up, I'm sure we're going to find out very soon because they really don't have much time to set this in stone, you know? They have the rest of this week, they have next week, which is a bye week, and then we're back to games again, so there's not that much time at all. Let me know who you think the Paris Eternal might get down in the comment section. Give me your best guess. Now we can transition over to the Guangzhou Charge coaching situation. So again, Arachne and Damon are off the team. This Charge team is now without a coach, and while it is a little bit early, we're only 4 games into the season, I can kind of see why they would do this. It makes sense. I'm sure some people may even have seen it coming. Thinking about it logically, the Charge just have not been playing well at all. I mean, their one win comes against the Valiant. As a matter of fact, it's the only time they've ever taken a map in a series. Literally every other time they've been very disappointing against the Spark, the Seoul Dynasty, everybody, just not good. If you can only take a map off the team that everybody's beating, then yeah, needless to say, you're kind of in trouble and your team really needs to make some quick changes if they want to try and turn around their season. I also kind of feel that Charge fans were probably very upset with this start, just because previous seasons they have done a lot better. Even in Season 2, during their first year, they were better than this. Then last year, obviously, they had a great year, especially during the summer. So this year just doesn't even compare. Clearly, they're having a dilemma at DPS. I think in specific hit scan has been an issue for them. K. Lee hasn't looked super comfortable out there, kind of inconsistent. Then they've been trying Eileen recently at hit scan, but that's not his natural position. Yeah, Eileen is a beast, but you're kind of forcing him to play McCree and Ashe and stuff when it's not what he's entirely used to playing. There's been a few bright spots within this team, like I thought Kariv and Choi Se-won both did great during the May Melee qualifiers, or at least decent, but like, it's not enough, right? You need more consistency than that. You need other people to step up, and you need better coaching too, because those guys have looked pretty lost out there, and if I'm being honest, they've kind of seemed divided at times. So it's time to make a change, right? Clearly they think that coaching is the problem. Arachne has not lived up to the hype of being a former San Francisco Shock coach, so they want to move on and get someone else in there, or at least have an interim head coach for the time being. Maybe this is a bit hasty, but I mean, sometimes you just gotta try things out and see what happens, because there are some good players on this team who are very capable, you know? Maybe you just need a different coach to try and drag out that potential and have this team play more as a collective unit. I'm really not sure what's up with some of these Chinese expansion franchises and just wanting to get rid of their coaches right away. The Charge did it. We saw the Spark do it a couple of weeks ago, or last week. I don't remember when. I can't even keep track of time, but you get the idea. It's kind of crazy. But I mean, hey, it kind of worked out for the Spark. Immediately, they started being a lot more competitive. They absolutely destroyed the Charge. They almost beat the Shanghai Dragons in a 5-map series. They're looking a lot better after making a coaching adjustment. So perhaps the Charge could follow a similar trend, but at the same time, nothing could change at all. Maybe they're just pointing fingers at a disaster that cannot be fixed. Either way, this team has their work cut out for them, and I'd like to see how they adjust and make changes moving forward, and I'd like to see if they could perform better at least, and be more competitive in their games. Even if they're not winning them, I'd like to see them take maps. You can only hope that coaching was the thing that needed to change the most, Charge fans, because if not, this season is quickly going to become a disaster. And on that note, I think I'm done, ladies and gentlemen. That's everything I have to say about the Charge coaching situation, as well as Neptuno and the Paris Eternal parting ways. So what do you think about all of this news? Let me know down in the comment section who you think could be coming in for replacements on both sides. Also, if you enjoyed the news video and you'd like to see more in the future, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you stay up to date with all of my content. And until next time, this is ATP, signing out. Peace.